The video you're watching is going to focus on Latin America and the factors that constitute and make Latin America a region such as its climate, its vegetation, language, trade networks, political units, river systems, and religion. Let's start with climate. Much of Latin America is in the tropical area, so obviously we do in the greens you see a large tropical area. There is a temperate zone because if we think of that Latin America is also has some temperate areas, we'll find climates that are similar to what we looked at in North America. The highland climates are unique to Latin America because of the mountains, which creates, even though that some of these countries are along the equator, they'll still have cold temperatures because of the elevation. Vegetation obviously corresponds with those climate regions. So let's start with our tropical rainforest. If you look at the brown areas, the tropical rainforests dominate Latin America. A large percent of the area falls into tropical rainforest. We also have grasslands. These grasslands are both the savanna areas that we see in this light blue color and also the prairie and steppe. That's where we have in Venezuela the llanos, the pampas in Argentina. And if you even think around our region, we have several Brazilian steakhouses, and that's because in Brazil we have grasslands where cattle are raised, and it's an important part of the culture in southern Brazil. We also have desert regions, primarily in northern Mexico. You can see also along the Pacific here in Peru and Chile. Highland climates are interesting in Latin America. In one country, some of these small countries, you could find climate changes drastically just by elevation. From going from low level where certain crops can be grown and certain plants grow to the higher elevations where it's difficult for any plants to grow. And so this can occur pretty quick in a Latin American country because of the difference is pretty quick in terms of elevation. The languages of Latin America correspond to colonization. The green areas are areas that were colonized by the Spanish, and strangely enough, those are areas where Spanish is the dominant language today. We also see Portuguese as a dominant language in the Portuguese areas, obviously again, and Brazil. There are some Amero-Indian languages that are still around, but the dominant languages are the languages of the colonizers. In other areas, in Belize, for example, in British Guyana, you'll find English. In Haiti, you'll find a French Creole. And even in Suriname, in the region, you'll find Dutch. So those aren't the only languages of Spanish and Portuguese, but they are the dominant languages. The trade networks of the region are similar to what we looked at in North America. We have CAFTA, which is like NAFTA, which these countries, the United States, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, all have entered into a free trade agreement where these areas are interconnected economically and trade occurs without barriers or tariffs. We also have the Mercosur. You can see in these green countries, the member regions, which it's found in mostly South America. And in terms of exports by destination, the Mercosur, you can see that the Mercosur is interconnected in the world economy, with many of their exports going to the EU, Japan, the United States, the rest of Latin America, and even Mercosur members. There are many countries in Latin America. We're not going to go through all of them, but the countries that we need to really focus on because they are emerging members of the world economy are Mexico and Brazil. There are, like I said, a lot of other important countries, but we need to focus particularly on those countries. The river systems of Latin America are really the river systems dominated by the Amazon. This large area of South America is drained by the Amazon, and it's the largest river by volume in the world. Like language, religion also corresponds back to who colonized the region. So since the fact that the Spanish and Portuguese were Roman Catholics, the majority of the region is Catholic. There are some interesting areas where there are some other religions. Guyana, for example, colonized by the British, has a large Protestant population, and because the British brought in people from South Asia to work, there's also a large Hindu and Muslim population. The Dutch did something similar with bringing Muslims from Indonesia to work. And so you find some patterns in South America that don't follow this pattern of Roman Catholicism. So with Latin America, basically when we look at its climate, dominated by the tropical areas, but there is also Climate that's related to the arid aspects of the region and the highlands. We looked at vegetation corresponding to the climate that we just talked about. Languages are based on colonization and are dominated by Spanish and Portuguese. Trade networks include the Mercosur and CAFTA. Some important countries we need to know: Mexico and Brazil. The Amazon is an important river system, and that religion, Roman Catholicism, again connects back to the fact that the region was colonized by Roman Catholic countries.